All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning brief on Wednesday, July 15th, tax day. If you haven't gotten around to that yet, today is your day. All right, we podcast update today. I'm on Morning Wealth for New Zealand. So that'll be kind of fun. So that's coming up this evening, which is then again Thursday morning already for their morning show over there. So that'll be kind of fun. Let's talk about the numbers real quick. Did not get an episode out last night. Everybody's busy asking tax questions, that sort of thing. So shame on me for not being ahead of that. Did pick up a few, so we're at 948. I think we're at 920 ish yesterday. So getting some traction, but again, I need to get back on the podcast episode train today. So that'll happen. As far as objectives, we're going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're going to talk about industrial stocks, which is almost more of the protect our money kind of thing, because these stocks are not ones that generally have that long-term huge growth that you're looking for. But they are big, safe American names, and that's what we'll talk about. And then for academic topic of the day, we will rehash the sector ETFs. There used to be 10 of them, now there's 11, and we'll kind of go through those and when those are right for you as an investor, sort of thing. For our flow, we'll talk about long stuff first and go to the short, into the open, and short finish up day trading stuff, and then off into long topics again. We'll go around the world, which is there's a lot of green around the world this morning. We'll do some headline review. There's the 6 names we'll look at, 5 individual names, and then an ETF, XLI. We'll get into our short-term day trading execution. We'll finish up with Q&A. I see a question there already. Thank you so much. Any tech issues, go to steve@ototnow.com. And disclaimer, of course, this is a financial education show, so anything you hear in this presentation, you can treat it as educational material and do your own due diligence before taking action in your portfolio. All right, let's go up to TD Ameritrade. We will take a look at the 1-year SPY in review. So yesterday, remember we talked about the being right at the bottom of that channel. Well, yesterday just kept getting better and better and better throughout the day. So we held that yesterday, and now today has set up as a big up day as well. We shall see if this holds. There is some talk of the Texas governor coming out with some news this morning. I got an interesting text, as well as school stuff. With some school summer stuff was canceled today here in Texas. So we'll see if there's an announcement this morning or not. But right now, everything's moving up in the green. And again, holding that channel will be kind of key technical. So yes, go with the golden cross. That's right. So far, so good. All right, we'll go over into the last 5 days specifically. And again, there was yesterday pretty much a straight line, though that was big Monday's big downfall. Now, when you see that red stripe, that was when the Governor Newsom from California made that announcement that California is shutting down. If today the Texas governor, now you go into a red state that's shutting down, that would be a pretty big deal, and I would expect to see a similar move down. I really would. So all the gains would be gone from today and probably yesterday as well, if that actually is the case. Maybe it'll be a muted announcement where he's only announcing some things are shut down instead of kind of the wholesale thing that California did, but we shall have to see how it plays out. So certainly don't buy anything this morning. That would be the lesson of the day. So new money that's coming in for me, I am sitting on that and waiting for the big announcement here in Texas. Okay, let's move over to the earnings calendar. Big name out this morning, obviously, was Goldman Sachs. If you turned anything on financial, that's what you would have heard about this morning. They absolutely blew out earnings, 92% increase in trading revenue, I think, was the big headline there. So they're out, and then Alcoa is out today after the bell. So we'll be looking at Goldman Sachs long, as well as kind of the whole financial industry long. Okay, that's enough for that. Let's come down to CNBC for the headline review. You can see everything's in the green there across the board, and pretty significantly, right? Up 2% on the Dow, so it's kind of the industrials there. Let's go over to Europe. In the green, right around 2% across the board. Very nice. Asia was mixed, I think, last time I looked. Yeah, China down a little bit with the U.S. tensions and a lot of tough talk from Trump last night. So, and plus a bill was some piece of legislation was passed, and again, strengthening our relationship with Hong Kong, which again affects negatively the relationship with China. Let's look at the numbers from yesterday. Pretty decent move up, and the VIX chilled out a little bit below 30. That's kind of our magic level, so that everything should continue on that unless there's a big announcement today. Let's look at bonds. Bonds, slight changes there, nothing major. Oil was back above 40 yesterday, and precious metals, pretty well mixed there. Again, silver is the one that's been on the tear. That's the one I like best. I'm starting not to like it now that it's up near 20. I liked it down around 14. So I sold some yesterday and we'll probably sell the rest today. So just to let you know. All right, let's go back to the pre-market or the big front page and let's take a look. That's the CEO of Goldman right there. That was the big picture. So 500 points, that off the earnings news as well as the Moderna vaccine news that actually came out right after the close yesterday. So the futures were up 300 points almost right after the close due to their vaccine saying they had some successful tests building antibodies in folks. So, hey, that'd be great. I would like to put this whole COVID thing in the rearview mirror, or at least get it on the trajectory that it was, and back towards normality, if you will. All right, Apple, yeah, 15 billion in Irish taxes. They got let off the hook there, if you will. Kind of sketchy if you know Apple's actually headquartered in Ireland. What? Yeah, and for some reason are not being shamed for that, but we shall see. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more. It's a funny headline. Goldman sees 90% chance stocks beat bonds over 10 years, like they always have. I mean, what a great headline. Shocker, right? Good call, Goldman, taking a lot of risk there. Okay, we talked about Apple, Moderna. All right, let's see what else we've got. Sure, sets a single day record every day. I did see Trump's explanation in the numbers on testing. I didn't realize we were doing 700,000 tests a day. That's a quite impressive number that we're knocking out there. Mortgage rates, I clicked on that to see the average around the country is down to 3.17 on the 30-year. So that's actually still has room to go lower, and it's been lower, if you will. It says record low, but it's not. Folks have been in that area before. All right, let's scroll on down. Okay, autonomous semis probably makes people my age and older nervous about, semis or semi accidents are obviously particularly brutal because they kill a lot of people when they have them. They don't have them a lot, but yeah, let's put the autonomous action out there. I'm not super excited about that. So the Bronco was released. If you saw the big headlines there, and it was resurrected. They already sold out of their pre-orders of 2021 Broncos. So I guess there is enough demand out there for all of that. All right, Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg hospitalized. She's 87. So anytime there's a Supreme Court movement at all, then the obviously politics comes into play. Tesla's coming, it appears, to Texas. Remember, it's between Texas and Oklahoma. That's Travis County, not the Williamson, the one where I live. But again, pretty much, I think that's Texas rolled over in incentives like everybody told them not to bring Tesla here, and so we give them a heck of a deal, and they probably are coming here. All right, I didn't see this earlier. Tesla stock needs to drop by 1,000 to be a buy. Somebody on the planet agrees with me. And that person and I have been grossly wrong for that. But all right. Should you lower your retirement savings contributions to pay off debt? A CFP weighs in. Mathematically, yes, but a lot of people, it's better if depending on their particular, OJ got his order in, very nice. He's still around, that's right. generally, if you are having issues with discipline, you don't have a really good relationship with money, you should always keep your retirement savings going, even if you are carrying debt. Obviously, mathematically, you would pay off your debt first and then go into retirement savings. So, all right, that's all we're going to talk about there. We'll go over to the main layout and talk about our industrials for today. And the reason I brought this out is banks and industrials are the two things that kick off earnings. So we have the big banks, which are pretty much kind of through their earnings release and right on into Alcoa. I believe CAT is shortly after. And then there. So those are kind of, why do they have it structured that way? Those are kind of the big staples of the American economy. I am not a huge industrial investor. I never have been. But these are valid investments, of course. Why am I not is because they don't have that high margin product. If anything, it's very, very low margin. They have a highly skilled American workforce that's very expensive, that only gets more expensive over time. Predator, I see your question about pensions, and then of course you see these names. They all had the big pensions back in the day. I don't know the answer to your question, but we'll certainly talk to some of that a little bit later. But these are not, this is not selling, iPhones and video games that are all high margin. This is just big old industrial stuff. So these things do move when there's a transportation bill that's being thrown around. Biden released a bill last night. I did not dig into it at all, but it had infrastructure tied to it. So of course, those are things that are going to move these types of names. So let's talk about them. Caterpillar. You can kind of see where it's bouncing up around 140-ish level prior to the big coronavirus hit in March. And it's just now kind of recovering to that level. So again, it's hard for money to flow out of it. But if you look at how far it went down, 140 to 90 is, it's a significant move, obviously, but there are obviously other names that got killed a lot more. So these are widely held. All of them pay a dividend except for U.S. Concrete, and probably a decent sized one, right? All right, over to Alcoa. That's one of the big industrial names that's been around seemingly forever. It was already falling out of favor going into COVID, and then that kind of sealed the deal all the way down to extrapolate there. Thank you, down close to $5. So it's more than doubled on its way back up, but that stock literally is on a trajectory to nowhere. I would not touch it. All right, USCR is U.S. Concrete. This is one that was kind of hot for a little while and it's cooled off. If you see it off the bounce from the March 23rd lows, got kind of that uptick right there. But then recently, the transportation bill that Trump was pushing has kind of fallen out of the news cycle. So with it, U.S. Concrete kind of fell with it as well. So, and it does look like there's a dividend hidden behind there. You click, see if you can earnings, and then try to mouse over that other, see if you can catch the other one. Yeah, can't grab it. Anyway, I think those are actually two. I think there's a dividend hidden behind there, if you will. We shall see. I have to zoom in real hard to that one. Yeah, maybe not. Can't tell. All right, next one's 3M. This is not really a name you think with industrial, but when I pulled up the XLI, you will see big industrial names, but you also see the big manufacturing names like 3M and defense stocks thrown in there. So 3M, again, this used to be the wave of the future innovative company, went straight up for a long time. It's been kind of left for dead as well. You can see that's a straight downward trajectory from even a year ago. So a big earnings miss there. You can see the gap down at that chart, and really no reason to be in the name 3M until it gets too cheap. But again, I don't see that one having a huge recovery out there. GE has run into a lot of issues. There was some talk of it actually going under when it started into this March thing. I have a touch of GE in the book, not because I like it, but somebody else wanted it, so we put it in there. I don't see GE really going anywhere, excuse me, anytime soon. I do like it because it has kind of two ways to win, like Boeing. You have the defense side, and then you also have the civilian side, if you will. So not something I would really be excited about putting money in, but it appears they're not going to go under, at least. Okay, and their bond, some of you have their bonds. Their bonds were super cheap there for a while. Like you buy them at 75, 80 cents on the dollar. So good bonds to be in. Again, not worried about the long term. And then the XLI is one of the sector ETFs, which is what we'll talk about later. There's XLI and XLB, and there's just a fine distinction between the two. But as you can see, it's, the highs were in the 82s as being pointed out there, and then still just climbing back up into the 70s. Generally, you're not going to see a huge move up on this like you will like the XLK, which is technology, or the XLV, which is healthcare, but pretty stable name. So before the virus kicked off, kind of bebopping around with a slight increase. So again, if you're diversified across all the sectors, that's a way to just say, okay, I'm in this XLI for industrials exposure, and that's it. All right, that's enough talk about that. Let's go over into the, excuse me. Can't quite clear that out of there this morning. That's probably loud for y'all. Let's go over into the, looking for some short-term stuff. First one we'll pull up is GS long. Again, that's Goldman Sachs. Has the volume, it's gapping up from 214 to 226-ish. Looking for that number, a few percent. Well, there it is, 6%. So it's kind of meets our numbers there, and it's got a nice headline. I'm not sure I see a bank being able to scream up another 6% during the day. So you would likely have the R ability at a $200 stock to be able to set a stop close enough to get that 3R move. But you can take a look at it if you are interested. Next one, let's look at Moderna, 14%. Again, this is obviously off the mRNA, off of the news from the vaccine. I think that move was already baked in, obviously, from the headline yesterday. So when you think from the headline until now, there's already been 14 hours, 15 hours. So I'm not sure that would continue up into the 90s or so. But if you were looking for a biotech play, that would be one. We'll obviously check back on that this morning. Okay, so American, I'll just talk to all the leisure stocks. If you want to pick any, American, United, Delta, Carnival Cruise Lines, Norwegian, the hotels, all of them gapped up this morning. Obviously, they're gapping up on the Moderna news. Maybe. Again, I don't like those names like at all, but they're certainly going to meet all of our numbers for having the volume and being in that 5 and 10%. So if you want to pick one and run with it, have fun. We'll see maybe if we can tease out which one's best to breed for trying to do that. But again, those are not names that I'm necessarily interested in. We will take back and look and see how they performed after the open. So I'm putting down American and Carnival. All right. GE is up there as well. It's only up 3.34% now. When you look at, let's go ahead and click on GE. And again, no news out there that I know of. Nope. But again, this thing has been beat up pretty good, so it does have a lot of room to go higher off of the chart out there. All right, let's take a look at the next tab. China Finance Online up 270%. Go ahead and click on that, just see if we get a headline. What's going on? Partnership with Dow Jones, okay. Wow, that's quite the move. All right, can't touch that. Goldman Sachs again meeting all of our numbers there, and Tesla's meets the volume number again, only up 1.4%, so not super excited about that. All right, let's check the decliners. All right, again, market's up pretty big. We're looking at almost 2% in the Dow, so it's going to be tough to find something rocking to the downside that has any volume. Let's see what the Zynex headline is there. Have not heard it, not familiar with that company. All right, so medical device firm, looks like they're issuing some shares. Well, they've been hit pretty hard for that. 12%. Oh, they priced their, oh, here it is. If you look at the bottom, if you go back to the gapping down one, there you go. If you look right at the bottom, you can see that they offered their 2.5 million shares at $22. So guess where the stock went? $22. So again, they probably issued that like 2 weeks ago, thinking 22 would be a good price, and obviously that crushed the stock. So it's not going anywhere outside of 22 anytime soon. So well done, Zynex, crushed your own stock price. Okay, and just not enough movement out of any of those other names. Movement or volume are the issues. All right, let's go take a look at the next tab. Lots of greens, scanning through the volume. Don't really know what Infosys does. And Carnival meets our number, both CCL and CUK, and I don't think I ever teased out what the difference was. There's the other Carnival there, CCL. Nice job. Park Hotels and Restaurants is out there. That would meet our criteria. It would have the volume by the open. Planet Fitness, that's an interesting one. Let's pull up PLNT. I've not looked at their chart in a long time. See what I did there, long time. Okay, long. They closed at 55, up almost 59. Back out that PLNT chart if you can for me. Okay. So gosh, it dropped down to 47, ran up to 80, back below 60. That has room to run higher. I'm not very excited to be in a gym stock, but certainly meets our criteria and has room to go higher. Okay. Yeah, there's just a ton of names to look at. Let's look at the next tab. Moderna, pull up an mRNA already on one of those. I just kind of want to watch it as it goes in. We'll get you over to that screen in a second. Ew, interesting. We'll talk to that once you get you over there. All right. VBIV vaccines. Interesting. Don't need to look at it though. There's United Airlines up 7%. Avis 7%. Ryanair 7%. JetBlue. Cheesecake Factory. Pull up cake. No news, just gapping up off the vaccine stuff. But when you look at that, they also, you're looking at that chart. That's early June being pointed out there. It was up in the 30s, dropped all the way down to the 20s. So that's a fairly, not prestigious, but an upper middle class type restaurant. So cake long, I think it certainly has room to run. All right. Eldorado Resorts, that's a merger thing. So ERI and Caesar SCZR are trying to merge. So we'll pull up Eldorado Resorts there. Again, Eldorado buying Caesars. So 40 up to 43. Okay, looks like Caesars released some data. And of course, they're slowly opening. So let's back out the chart to kind of see where ERI was. I don't know. Don't think it has the move in it to go higher, but something we'll keep an eye on this morning. All right, let's go over to our TD Ameritrade screen. We'll get that set up. Things I'm starting to like here are mRNA. I can see that actually getting bought because they've had some similar headlines in the past, and this is the most traction we've ever had. So I could see that going up. So that's why I wanted to look at the chart. So we'll put mRNA left, put cake in the middle, and PNLT at the right, which again is Planet Fitness. Just looking to see how these charts set up. All right, mRNA, again, all these are longs. So I don't really love the fact the stock's gone from 89 all the way to 85 going into the open. You know, and it sold off earlier in the day from 92 all the way down to 85. Now, it appears there's a buyer at 85 because there's a lot of congestion there. So you may be pretty good at the 85 level. You'd need a full dollar stop, I think. Yeah, 50 cents. Oof. Probably $1. And does it have a 3-hour move up? Yeah, absolutely. It's got a $3 move in it. That would all be not even to the most recent high in the day. So make a little note. Might look at that with $1 long. I see DAL going in. So let's talk to Planet Fitness, because I would not take this just because of that pre-market action. But yeah, it's gapped up, as you can see, 55 to 59. I don't see that screaming higher, so we'll kill it off and put DAL there for Predator. In at 2 out at 5 at the 20-cent stop, so we'll just take a look at that. 27.35 down to 20.15, 27.15. So yeah, depending on where it opens, I think you could. That's probably safe. Maybe 25 cents, but I'm not picking apart the trade. Just thinking out loud more than anything. Most of the congestion is within that 20-cent range. And does it have a 60-cent move higher? Absolutely. So 27, that'd be up to 28. So kind of the top there. So I can see the hesitancy to make it 25 because then it's tougher to get that 3-hour move. Yeah, that'll be something we can keep an eye on. And then cake, obviously lower volume. The volume come rushing in. I'm not really worried about that. Back it out just a little bit. Thank you. So you can almost get away with it. I can't do a 10-cent stop on a $20 stock. It'd have to be 20 cents, I think. So 20 cents, so taking 60 higher would be 21.80, 22.40 right at the top of the congestion. I don't know. Don't particularly like any of these. Moderna, I worry about profit taking because it's run up so much. What does that move? $3 move, as I say, profit taking. And of course, moves higher, and I don't like it since it just moved higher for $3 worth. That's for sure. We'll do cake. I don't have my stuff ready, so you can put me in for cake long. And let's make it a 20-cent stop. And in at 3 minutes and out at 10. I'm going to wait just a little more for the market to settle down before that kind of continues to march higher. All right, about a minute to the open. Let's check. Let's see. I'm not going to take Moderna, so let's on the left. Let's see what LCA is doing. This is Landcadia Holdings. This is the SPAC that is going to do the IPO for the other DraftKings equivalent out there. Ooh, nice 10-cent range on that. I back that chart out a little bit just to see where it's up. See if it's up or down from yesterday. So it's up from 12.70 to 12.13 basically. So that's 30 cents. So 3 or 4% there. Let's check out Luck and see if it's taking anything yet. Up at 325 or so. That's a 5-cent range we're looking at. And last one is Shell, SHELL. Back it out to the full. There we go. It's up too. Not a whole lot, 40 cents. All right, you can put it back on MRNA so we can watch the action there. And here is our opening bell. So MRNA at the open there, that's going to be tough for it to hold that high, I think. But so far, so good. A lot of volume. Look at the volume rushing into that. 3 million shares trading in the first minute. So again, if you watch the bottom volume, you can actually see it striping up. We're now up to about 3.3 million, and a nice shot there on the pencil. Yeah, you can watch that real time. That is just crazy compared to what 60,000 in Cake and 600 in Delta Airline, right? That's 600,000, excuse me. So that's just a pretty impressive volume. All right, we can zoom in on each of those, if you will. All right, first one in is no trade from Burner this morning or Jumper, and haven't seen Geach in a while. I wonder what Geach is up to. All right, so we've got DL long with the 20-cent stop going in at minute 2. Again, we got 45 seconds or so before that sets up. Just looking at Moderna, yeah, that first minute there is from 86.6 to 88. That's almost a $2 move in that first minute, so that's kind of tough. Well, DAL setting up good for your long with that move down. It's like 20 cents or so. Okay, about 15 seconds into, and then we'll get Predator started on DAL. All right, 5 seconds. There we go. So yeah, it looks like 27.34. I'd buy that. So that'd be 27.14 for the lower stop. So that worked out pretty good. Yeah, I think that stop's safe. Obviously, that's if it continues long today, then it's going to hold that. But and you get benefited from what a 20 or no, I guess it's only 15-cent move down there for that big red bar. So pretty good. Overall market looks like it's down a little bit. I mean, not down, but I mean up less than it was at the open. So that's not going to help the longs at all. Moderna striping down. All right, here's my entry into Cake coming up in the next about 5 seconds or so. And again, it's a long at a 20-cent stop. So 21.91 with a stop at 21.71. So I like that. If I were taking that real time, obviously I would increase it to 23, obviously to capture that, below the low of the day there. So got in just in time. That's a decent move up. So it's 60 cents from 21.92. That'd be 21.42 would be my 3R point. Excuse me, 22. Thank you. 22, can't do math this morning. 22.42 would be the 3R point. So it's up probably 2R there already. So it's kind of a nice move up. And I said I was out at 10 minutes, so we'll be in that name for a while, but I will take it. All right, in the left-hand panel, let's take a look at, let's go to Luckin. Gotta see what's going on. Everybody's favorite coffee. Look at that, only 1%. It's like it moves 10% one way or the other every day, right? So hardly moving. Let's look at the volume. 125,000, so I'm kind of adding those up. So maybe 200,000 total. So that's a lot lower than it has been. Be nice to see that get some momentum behind it. All right, let's look at Nikola while we're here, NKLA. Again, no headline, just it's a name that's been beaten up, so I would expect it to go higher with the market. No real movement there. Let's check out BLNK. This is Blink. This is our battery company. Again, I thought it was a great buy at 7. Getting even a better deal here around 6. So again, every day I put in an order and buy some more shares in BLNK. I really like the long-term prospects of it. Another name that we always talk about is a workhorse, WKHS. Been on the rise lately, so it's down a couple percent today. Not the end of the world there, not a huge move. All right, we talked about Goldman Sachs earlier. Let's take a look at Goldman Sachs, GS. Okay, it made a pretty big move up to that 5%. So again, thinking it has more upside out of a bank, that's pretty tough there. So, all right, we can kind of get over and watch the Delta Airlines trade. Predator's out of it when this minute closes out. So he's got a nice 1R move there. So let's do some math. 27.54 would be 1R. I'm gonna draw that real quick. Get QR eyeballs for, and then what's that, 27.74, right? Yes, sir. Nice shot. So he's going to close out here in 5 seconds. All right, so we're going to eyeball that at, we'll call it 1.45R. We'll get into the math if we need to, but nice trade there. So made a little bit of money on that. Real money or long term, I don't know if it's going to actually get up to 28 or so. That's what it would require. 27.94. I don't know. That's pretty optimistic, but we shall see. All right. So I would have hit in cake. For our competition, obviously I'm still in the trade until the 10-minute point. But you see cake did have a 3R move. I was not optimistic about that. But even a restaurant name looks like it can make a move like that. All right. And the market's kind of working against it for both of those there. All right. So we talked about Goldman. We're back on the left pane now. Let's go to AAL, American, which is who I would have picked. I don't really like airlines, but if I was going to pick one, I would pick American. Pretty similar pattern to Delta there. Let's go CCL, little cruise line action. So if you zoom in a little bit, if you took at the open at what, 16.13, it's not even a 30-cent move. So a couple of R's if you're brave enough to take that. I don't think I would have taken that though. We talked GE. Let's pull the GE chart up, see how GE is doing this morning. So opened at 710. So with the 10-cent stop, did it get up to 739? Not quite, up to 721. So probably not I couldn't go lower than a 10-cent stop on that stock. All right. Let's see, Planet Fitness, PLNT. Again, it's lower volume and literally hasn't moved much. If you took it at the open, that's 58.90. I guess that's a 70-cent move up. So a little bit different from chart dynamics. So yeah, you would have had to take it at the open and almost scalp it. SPY's striping down a little bit, still up not quite 1%. So across the board, Dow's up 1%, S&P at 0.8, NASDAQ 0.5. Wow, that move down in Delta is kind of impressive. So from you picked the right time to get out. Yeah, my trade's working against me now. I still have another minute and 10 seconds, so we'll see where that kind of chills out. Let's take a look at Eldorado, ERI on the left screen. $42.5 all the way down. That's a 75-cent move to the very bottom there, pretty much straight down. So started around, I think, 7%. Now it's up 4% on the day. Certainly wouldn't touch that. All right, my trade has another 30 seconds. Let's put up Luckin again just to check in on that. So opened at 325, down at 316, low of the day so far. Got pulled down by the market there. So 3 cents off in the day. So what does that mean? It opened, closed yesterday at 319. So, all right, not too bad of numbers there from Luckin. All right, we're into minute 10, so I get actually to the close of this minute sorry about that. I spooked I was a minute too early. I get to, once this minute ends, we'll get that. All right, bring up the main board over here on a different screen. I'm just going to see what Tesla's up to today because it has been in play. So Tesla's below 1,500 again, off a little over 1%. Some other things that are jumping out. Entertainment properties, we talked about that Monday, I believe, up 7% today. So pretty big move up there against a real estate investment trust. So they're going to travel up on vaccine news as well. See if I find another big. Kohl's is up off vaccine news. All right, we're getting ready to close out my trade in cake at the end of this bar. Okay, so it's going to be 2.6-ish R. So I get the gold star for the day on the cake trade. But that's literally all I'm going to say about that. All right. They're talking about SPACs. We talked about the special purpose acquisition company. That's what CNBC is talking about the headlines on. Pull up LCA on pick a screen, because that's one of the SPACs that's coming up, and see if that's being bumped by this article. It is not being. It hasn't been headlined yet. All right. We can leave that. Let's go to see what's going on around the market off our chart screen. So there we go. Southwest and Delta up towards the top. 10-cent holdings up nicely. GE is up there as well. Raytheon, GE and Raytheon have just been houses of pain as far as actually making any money. CGC, name we haven't seen in play too much. That's Canopy Growth. That's a marijuana stock. So as we go into the elections, a couple of things that are out there that are going to be going on to ballots are legalization of marijuana. Whether you're for or against it, states are starting to get pretty strapped for cash, and that's a taxation source. So consider that. And then, of course, the sports gambling. Sports gambling is on several dockets for being voted into existence against the taxation that the states are after here. So leave your morals or your ethical stance on sports gambling behind and get ready to make some money. All right, speaking of, DraftKings is the next one down there, up 3%. So that's recovered above $30 now. Let's pull up the DraftKings chart. So this has been kind of a tough name because it ran up so much. And yeah, let's do, yeah, perfect. I mean, it ran all the way up to 45. I've got an entry point back when it's Diamond Eagle of $11 a share, so I'm not crying too much here. But it was at 45, settled all the way down below 30, which that was kind of tough. But then it's kind of working its way back north. So there's a dilution here. So when you have like LCA, which is Lancadia, coming out with another app that basically does the exact same thing, you're going to get money that was in DraftKings now moving over to the SPAC to be able to again catch that surge. So a lot of it is just a money flow issue. I do think it's better. It's going to be best of breed over Fertitta Tillman's app, in my opinion, because everybody knows DraftKings. So it's going to maintain its status, but so I expect it to get up to maybe mid-30s or so. All right, we can go back to the SPY on the chart, and then we'll take it, see what's moving on the way down. All right, very nice. NEO, that has run up just a ridiculous amount. So some red there, Nikola in the red, Workhorse in the red. Take-Two and Electronic Arts. Sony's another name. I bought some yesterday. If you're looking at long, Sony going into the Christmas season, I think is a heck of a buy. All right, we can go back to the green there, and I'll look at the chart and the questions. So let's clear out that cake drawing and put put Luckin, and put Sony off to the right. All right. And SPY, if you look at the, that's a little V-shaped recovery there, that big move down, then big move back up. So, all right. Golden Cross. Yeah, I remember the good thing for bringing that up, Predator. We talked about the Golden Cross, and when it's happened 26 times in history, something like that. Generally, it's positive. And other than the California governor shutting down California, it would be straight up from there. So we'll see if there's an announcement out of Texas today or not. All right. Then the trades, let's look at the question. For long-time big companies, how much is their future clouded by traditional pension coverage, or do they have, I don't know. I think my gut feel is they are off the books, that they sold out of those or pass that responsibility off to a pension guarantee company is what I would imagine, but I don't know. Pre-tax hit due to, let's see what article you put in there, 2.2 billion for Ford. So obviously, we're pulling it up on another screen. Yeah, pension, yeah. So obviously not off the books there for Ford. And again, with them cutting their dividend to zero, suspending it, I should say. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Oh, January 20. Yep. I hear you. Pension, I deal with this all the time, is people ask, should I take the an annuitized or lump sum, which is really kind of the pension math, and almost always the pension wins. So for those of us who have a pension, that's obviously very nice. Okay, let's bring that down, and we will go over to pull up Investopedia sector ETFs, and then we will switch you down to the screen that I'm looking at, and that's what I'll close on. Is so you have 11 sectors within the investing world. So the reason they came up with these ETFs is, instead of just buying the SPY, which is buy the whole S&P 500, you can now laser focus into a sector ETF, which will give you a portion of that. So take, the pie chart, if you will, the whole thing's the SPY, and chop it into 11 different pies, and those are your sectors. One of them is technology. We talked about finance, healthcare, real estate was added. So there's an XLRE, which is the 11th. There used to only be 10, but they didn't have a real estate exposure, so that wasn't realistic. So yeah, we'll see what the key takeaways are here. I think I've said everything there. Now, this is a good place. Predator, you talked about this before, when you're surfing for investing ideas. Let's go crack open and see the top 10 holdings of each of the sector ETFs, and that's where you're going to get a big name, because it's going to be a 5% type holding, and it's going to be something that you've heard of. So not a bad place to look. Let's go ahead and scroll up, see if we get anything more out of this morning. Again, trades as an ETF, so it's trades on the open exchange. That's a good point. Expense ratios are almost nil. They're going to be like 0.03, 0.04 for these sort of things. So very efficient to be able to kind of focus in. And some people are ETF only investors, or they'll take 80% of their portfolio into index funds. And then on the 20%, they'll have individual stocks. And those are generally folks that I talk to that say, hey, I'm pretty conservative. I value diversification over, total return. So I do want that, just my holdings to be spread out. But then they're like, but I still want Amazon, I still want Facebook, and I still want Apple. And it's like, I can't argue with you there. Those are three pretty good names. So we'll build the majority of the portfolio around the index funds, and then supplement it with the individual stocks. Not a bad way to go. It's also how I have, you might have seen this year, the XLV, which is the healthcare. That, when you have biotechs whipping around 20-30% in a day, you've got all your healthcare names in motion. Somebody's going to win the vaccine game. You don't have any idea who. Just putting money into the XLV is not a bad way to go. So, all right, that's all I've got for today. I think I did answer your question pretty much with I don't know more than you. So, but we talked about it anyway. And with that, again, tax day, finish those up if you're not done yet, and we will see you in the morning. Have a good one.